Well, speaking of Chicago and all the problems, this is one of the stories I want to bring to the table.
There's problems in Chicago?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it, with a Democrat mayor in office, which has been the case for umpteen years.
I can't believe there would ever be a problem in Chicago.
Yeah, there's a problem in Chicago.
What is it?
Well, here we're into March 12th today, so we're basically 72 days into the year.
Okay.
So far, here in Chicago, 72 days in, 100 murders already.
That's nice. That's good. Talk about thinning the herd in a hurry.
Yes.
I like it. I think it's too low.
It's 1.3 murders a day.
Don't you think they should try and reach out? Don't you think they're slacking? They need to try and get to like 3.
Yeah.
They need to get to 3 a day in Chicago.
Sure.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's break this down as best you know. I don't know. Are you getting ready to read an article?
Yeah, I got an article here.
Before you read the article, let me just ask some questions that maybe you know or maybe you don't know.
Okay.
Is there any sort of a pattern to this, like it's happening on Saturday nights when the bar is closing?
Well, it does happen on the weekends, yes.
It's mostly the weekends. Is it at the bars? Do they know, or are they not saying?
It's mostly happening in the streets and in the neighborhoods.
So it's not at the bars?
It's not necessarily alcoholic fueled. Mm-hmm. It's more territorial and drug fueled.
Okay.
So
poverty based? Is it bad neighborhoods of Chicago exclusively, or is it happening in decent neighborhoods too?
Probably mostly bad neighborhoods.
Okay.
Mostly on the south side.
I'm just trying to get a feel.
Sure.
You know, I don't know how it's going in other parts of the country, but 170 days sounds like a lot.
It is. It's 1.3 a day.
Okay.
We're not talking shootings here. The shootings are about triple that.
So there's been literally 300 additional shootings.
Shootings, not killings, but there's been 100 murders.
So
we're talking like 300 shootings and 100 kills.
So roughly 400 people have caught bullets in 70 days.
About, yeah.
So if Dokken played a show in Chicago, odds are good that the number of people in the venue would all be dead if they walked out of the building.
That would be correct.
Jesus Christ. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
Well, there according to this article, there is a rhyme and a reason to the reason why it's so high so far this year.
Yeah, he sits in a White House in Washington. Oh, I'm sorry. That would be racist and bigoted for me to say that.
Right, exactly.
I apologize. It might be another guy that's not the main guy that sits there. It could be any guy that sits there.
True.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Chicago is having a bloody year. Mm-hmm. Already since January, more than 100 people have been murdered in the city.
Okay.
Double the number of homicides in Chicago during the first 2 months of last year. The number of shooting incidents is also up 120% compared to the first 9 weeks of 2015. The spike in violent crime comes from a time when the police in Chicago are under increased scrutiny for misconduct.
Wow.
It started with the release of the video last fall that showed a white police officer shooting a black teenager 16 times, resulting in the Justice Department's civil rights investigation into the police department's patterns and practices.
Right.
Then there were other incidents of the police shootings, brutality, and misconduct, followed by allegations of officers covering for one another and higher-ups failing to hold the officers accountable. In short, the heat and public scrutiny on police officers right now is intense.
Wow.
Well, morale is poor, to describe it in one word, says Dean Angelo Sr., president of the Chicago's Fraternal Order of Police. It's probably the lowest I've seen in my whole career.
Right.
There is a feeling among police officers, Angelo said, that no one wants to be on the next video.
Wow.
So basically, If
cops are afraid to do their job.
The cops are afraid to do their job. Rather than run a thug down and be accused of mishandling it or being abusive or whatever, they were just like, you know what? Go ahead, shoot yourself.
Fuck them. Let them kill each other.
Yeah, let them kill each other. We'll stand by. We'll just clean up the mess when it's over.
Mm-hmm. I'll bring the hose. You bring the broom.
Basically.
Jesus Christ.
This is being called the Laquan McDonald effect.
Is that a white guy?
Yeah.
Laquan McDonald?
Yeah, that's a white guy.
I thought so.
Yeah, sure. You could tell by the name, right? Very Anglo-Saxon American.
Nothing says white like Laquan.
Exactly. The dash cam video released under the court order in November showed officers Jason Van Dyke firing 16 shots into Laquan McDonald as the 17-year-old was moving away from the police while holding a small knife. The incident continues to hamper Chicago's police. Mm-hmm. Van Dyke was charged with murder, but only hours after the video went public and more than a year after the shooting took place.
Okay.
The political fallout from the video's release amid daily anti-police protests cost police superintendent Gary McCarthy his job.
Can I ask one question? Because I really don't know anything about this case other than that sounds really bad that a guy with a knife was shot 16 times.
Mm-hmm.
What was he doing that brought the police to him?
Well, I think he had like committed some kind of a theft or something, or was in some kind of a street brawl.
So he did or did not murder somebody first?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I mean, I don't know the story. I'm just trying to figure out the facts here, why somebody would plug him 16 times.
Well, again, this all happened. The video was available almost 2 years ago.
Right.
And the Rahm Emanuel stifled the video so it would not come out prior to his reelection.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's the same way the whole Benghazi thing was kind of stifled until after the election.
Right.
Same thing. Same playbook.
Just horrendous.
Sure.
Okay.
Interim Police Superintendent John Escalante acknowledges there might have been a Laquan McDonald effect where police officers are less aggressive and even somewhat passive about pursuing criminals.
Yeah. Do you blame them?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
It's just like, look, I'm trying to chase down a thug here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to stand there with your cell phone and you're going to put me on Facebook and every viral outlet,
yeah,
and accuse me of being, abusive or whatever the case may be,
yeah,
I'm not going to do anything.
I'd rather just be fired for not doing my job than jailed for doing it.
Exactly. So it's just like, go ahead and shoot each other.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, dude, do you ever, and I don't know if you do or you don't, but and I don't want to say who this is specifically, especially in this climate today, but we have a friend, you and I, and he is a hardcore listener of our show,
mm-hmm.
is a cop.
Yes.
Do you worry about his safety? Because he's a cop in a big city. Do you worry about that we're going to find out someday that he got gunned down in some of this senseless bullshit?
Not so much, because that's not the duty he fulfills.
Okay. Fair enough.
He's on a different type of duty.
True, but now you got cops getting shot because they're in their car.
Well, that part is true.
That's I worry about that dude. I actually do think about it. I'm like,
well,
Jesus
he does wear a flak jacket every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that doesn't protect your face.
I understand that, but he does wear protection every day.
Right. See, and how sad is that?
Mm-hmm.
That he has to wear protection to go into a town and tell drunks not to act like idiots.
Sure.
Such a fucked up place we're in now.
I agree.
Anyway, continue.
There's a little bit of an effect, says Escalante. Every officer, I think, not just here in Chicago, but every police officer around the country does not want to be the next viral video.
Mm-hmm.
Police in Chicago made 30% fewer arrests in the early part of this year compared to last year.
So see, crime is down.
Yeah, crime is down.
If there's a murder and they don't arrest anybody, does that count against a crime statistic?
That's a good question. I don't know that answer.
I would be curious to know, because how can it be down And I'm not even saying that you didn't say that. I said that, but I'll bet you anything that these politicians will say, well, look, crime is down in our city. We don't have any arrests. We're 30% to the good.
True.
With 100 dead
in
the street. Jesus.
It's 100 less that we had to arrest.
Yeah, that's right. 100 less probations.
Hail and Kill caller, you're on the air.
Somebody could shoot Trump just like they shot Kennedy. Hail and Kill.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, let's not say that on this show, Tim. Neither Neeley or I want to hear from the Secret Service.
Right, exactly. And besides, I happen to like Trump, so there you go.
Secret Service, if you're looking, you can look on Facebook for T.J. James. He is a foreigner in a foreign country.
Right.
Please negotiate with their government instead of coming at us.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
We are not advocating that Trump or Hillary or Obama or Sanders or Cruz be shot at. We are not advocating.
Right.
Not at all. Aneurysms, okay, around the board. But shooting, no, not at all. Anyway, continue.
Police in Chicago made 30% fewer arrests in the early part of this year compared to last year, and street stops are down more than 80% so far this year.
Wow.
80%.
Mm-hmm.
Escalante was so concerned that he recently recorded a video message sent out to all the 12,000 Chicago police officers, emphasizing that those doing their jobs properly don't have to worry about being the next viral video. Well, what kind of guarantee is he going to give them?
Yeah, there's no guarantee of that.
Yeah. He also clarified how officers can continue to make investigative street stops without violating new state laws, and announced a landmark agreement with the ACLU designed to prevent racial profiling. As a result, Escalante says both arrests and street stops are now back on the rise.
Right.
So basically, for the first 3 months of this year, it's just like, fuck that. I'm not stopping that guy.
Dude, why? Look, I am a big supporter of the police, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, fucking cops are bad, and blah 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 blah. Whatever. I am still a believer that if you don't act up like an asshole, 99% of the time you're not going to be fucked
I
with.
would completely agree with that.
There is always going to be a rogue element in any job, any profession, just like in restaurants. I saw the guy this week that was shitting in chili for 3 years at fucking Wendy's. Did you hear about that guy?
Yes, I did.
So there's always going to be somebody doing something fucked up somewhere. And
Correct.
That's the risk you take in living.
That's true.
But man, oh man, what would make you stay as a cop these days?
Yeah, what would be the incentive?
Maybe let's say you were a 20-year cop at this point. Wouldn't you be tidying up your resume and looking for another gig?
Or just either that, or you're just, trying to wait it out till retirement.
Yeah, even that though. Man, oh man, that's a dangerous play.
I agree.
Try and hang on to that until you retire.
Unless unless you transfer to another precinct or another area altogether.
Yeah, but there's not that many Mayberries out there.
True.
Mayberry's where you want to live. Hell, I live in Mayberry, and a cop got, my friend Josh got murdered. And you've been to my town. Is my town as close to Mayberry as it gets these days?
It's as close as I can think.
I mean, there's not even any stores. There's no Walmart. There's no Kmart. There's no nothing in my stupid town. It's as close to Mayberry as it gets, and a cop got murdered. So, you couldn't make me be a cop.
Sure.
No fucking way. Mm-mm.
The city's sharp increase in violent crime continues unabated.
Okay.
The majority of it is still gang violence. We're seeing a significant percentage of that gang violence being fueled by social media.
Of course.
You know what a Facebook fan I am.
Yep.
Not.
Yeah.
Escalante said social media taunts are the new gang graffiti, and in today's gang culture, there's almost immediate violent response to those taunts, which which in turn spurs retaliatory shooting. You said this on Facebook? You're dead.
Yeah, pal.
What? You Twittered about me? You're out of here, pal.
Yeah, I'm going to murder you for that.
Right. A very mild winter may also be contributing to Chicago's increase in violence.
A very mild winter.
Yeah.
So basically, because it wasn't so cold to keep the idiots inside,
Correct.
they went out and killed each other.
Correct. So, goddamn global climate change.
Yeah.
They had it right all the time that global climate change is causing more problems than we're aware of. It's allowing the thugs to come out and shoot each other.
Right. Allow the idiots to kill each other.
Well, they do have that saying that said, "Sun's out, guns out."
Can't say that I'd heard that, but it doesn't sound out of the blue.
Right.
Or out of the question, rather.
Right. Warmer weather means more people are out and there's more opportunity for conflicts. Get this. When temperatures reached the 70s earlier this week, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday of this week, 21 people were shot and 2 of them were killed in a 20-hour period.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Because they could get outside.
Correct.
That is unfucking believable to me. Jesus.
Angelo rejects the notion that the police are somehow responsible for an increase in violent crime, but he says that the police are under pressure. You know, they're damned when they put people on the wall and search them if they have weapons on them, and now they're being blamed for not getting people on the wall to search them to see if they have weapons on them.
Right.
So if you search them, you're profiling. If you don't search them, why didn't you get that guy with the gun?
Right.
Angelo says police officers are now walking what he calls a thin blue line between protecting law-abiding citizens and getting lawbreakers off the streets. Some cops on the street agree. Yeah, the job's real tough, says Ron Brewer, 17-year veteran. You know, we got a lot of eyes on you, and a lot of people don't understand the job, and they want to jump to conclusions about what we do and what we're supposed to do.
Right.
So rather than do anything at all, just stand back and watch.
Well, couldn't we just make it now that anytime anybody's convicted of murder, they're sent to Antarctica? That way they'll stop acting up? Because it'll be cold.
Yeah.
I think that's a good solution.
Sure.
Seems like if the pattern is that they only kill each other when it's warm, then send them somewhere cold.
Right.
Seems logical to me.
Yep. Brewers is one of the several officers from the 12th Chicago Police District volunteering on Friday nights to coach a new basketball league for 13 to 15-year-old boys who live in and around the public housing development known as ABLA Homes on the city's west side. Officer Paris Edwards, another 17-year veteran on the force, came up with the idea for the leagues as a way to improve relations with teenagers in the neighborhood.
Right.
Well,
so they're putting a basketball league to stop the violence?
Well, see, here's the deal. Sound like the Rev here. Now, here's the deal.
All right, Rev. Go ahead.
If these people, and when I say these people, I'm talking about the black population mostly here.
What? Racist?
Yes, I'm being racist here.
Might be all American Indians and Asians.
True. I said mostly, I said.
You didn't say what the breakdown was of these people murdering each other.
True.
I'm a big believer that Chicago is full of Asian murders. That's what I think.
All right.
Maybe I'm wrong. Go ahead.
Well, if we were not experiencing a 75% out of wedlock birth rate and no family structure, no strong male leader in the home, someone teaching you right from wrong, this would not be an issue. But now this has become a government issue to try to counsel, coach, bring these kids along because they're not getting it at home.
So the government is trying to over-accommodate, and their theory, though, is that a basketball league will solve the problem.
I mean, they got to do something, and I guess something is better than nothing.
Okay.
I guess.
Right.
We've known for quite a while that the relationship between the police and the youth has been one that's been strained. The youth feel like the only time they have interaction with the police is when they're being stopped for questioning or they're being looked at for committing some type of a crime. Well,
you know what? That's the only time I have interaction with the police.
That's true.
You know, I don't just regularly say, "Hey, Sheriff Jones, let's have coffee."
Right.
You know, that doesn't happen. You know, I the only time I ever deal with the police is when I'm speeding or when I'm doing something stupid.
Right.
It's the only time.
Yeah.
That's bad?
Well, that's the thing. It says, why are you harassing me, man? I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
In basketball, you do have to communicate. Coaches and players have to communicate. If we can get the youth communicating with the officers, then we can develop some kind of relationship outside of them being stopped and questioned for some type of crime.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's very helpful that the Glocks are playing the MAC-10s this weekend in the basketball league.
Sure.
It's probably not that good.
Star player Durant Peterson, 13, says he welcomes the chance to see police officers in a different arena. I'm glad they're doing this because, like, right here where we're at right now, it's a very bad neighborhood, and I'm glad the police came to do this for us.
Would you want to be a cop that literally has to disarm and go and play basketball in this neighborhood?
No way.
Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
With people knowing that you're a cop, fuck that.
Right.
Absolutely not.
If the police-led basketball program shows real results in improving relationships between beat cops and black teenagers, I think that's the first time they mentioned any kind of race.
Yeah.
City officials said it will likely expand and replicate across the city. So basketball is the answer to all the ills in the city.
No, it is. It is a big sport in Chicago.
I agree.
Michael Jordan and all that shit.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, hey, I hope it works.
Well, me too. I said something's better than nothing.
Yeah, it'd be nice to not get the number up to 200 by June.
Yeah, it'll be there.
You think it'll be 200 by June?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How many is it going to be for the year?
Let's see here. At the rate we're going, we're doing 1.3 a day. So by the end of the year, it'll be 600.
Think 600.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to increase to like almost 2 a day.
Yeah, it'll be 600 by the end of the year.
Do you think it'll get all the way up to 2 a day? Get to 700?
Well, summer's not even here yet.
That's what I'm saying. And it'll
Yeah,
be nice
so
and warm.
as soon as it gets warm, as soon as, say, May rolls around,
right,
it's going to get worse.
Okay.
Yep,
Wow.
It's going to get worse.
It's scary.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm wrong on this assessment, but I'm gonna guess that there are 0 Neeley concerts in Chicago this year.
Yeah, I don't have any intention of heading downtown Chicago.
Doesn't matter who's on tour.
Nah, doesn't matter.
All right, so Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and Metallica are playing at Wrigley Field,
Mm-hmm.
and you get a free ticket. Will you go?
At this very second?
Yeah, you just got a free ticket. Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Metallica.
Is it a general admission ticket or is it after show too?
General admission, and they're going to stretch curfew, and the show is going to play until 2 a.m.
No, I'm not going.
Night.
Nope.
No.
No. If it's just general admission, nah, I'm not going to do it.
You get a seat, though. We'll
Yeah,
give you a
I understand. I get that.
So even if you got a seat just because the crazies would be at the show, now the crazies probably wouldn't be. The people that are killing each other,
They're not going to be at that show. No, they're not going to be there.
But they might be in the neighborhood.
Could be.
You know, on a Friday night at 2 a.m.
Sure.
So your answer is absolutely no.
No, I didn't say absolutely. High probability no.
I'm with you. I hate to say it, but I'm an absolutely no. No fucking way.
Yeah.
I am not risking my life in a fucking war zone for anybody.
Mm-mm.
And that's what it is down there. Sorry, it just is. I want nothing to do with it. Jesus, Nathan. Nothing says racist like Nathan in Kentucky.
Right.
Holy smokes.
Yep.
That's a bit much. Okay. Well, congratulations to you, man. I'm sure you're glad you moved there.
Oh, yeah. Just planning the exit strategy, my friend.
Are you worried? I mean, you don't live in downtown Chicago. You live a decent enough distance away from that shit.
Where I live, I am not in the fray.
Yeah.
Where I work, I'm literally 3 miles from the epicenter.
Yeah, there. Believe me, I was not especially comfortable going to your place when I went there last year.
Well, my boss will not take a certain freeway at a certain time of the day.
Right.
We were having this discussion yesterday before I left.
Okay.
And we were discussing the 100 killings in 71 days.
Right.
And he basically said he'll take the toll road and pay the $4.50 than take the other highway just because of the danger, the potential danger.
Now, when these idiots were out there laying down in the street and whatever and starting all those protests, how far were they from you?
That was up on Michigan Avenue.
Okay.
Up in the upper scale district.
Right.
So that was about 18, 19 miles.
From your job?
Correct.
So that was a decent distance
away.
Yes,
correct.
Okay. I'm just curious how close it is to that area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just sad now, man, that you literally don't want to go and do stuff.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose your battles, you know.
Yeah. No, I get it. And look at Tim James. What are the chances of death really? It doesn't matter about, you know, are there 1 million people down there and only one gets killed or whatever? Fuck that. Why would you take the chance of being the one?
Yeah, why would you even want to be in the middle of something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Why do you want to? I'm with you on that. And I'm usually not with you on this kind of stuff. You know, because I'll say it to the end of time. I will bang a black chick. You know, I'm not afraid of AIDS. But I'm less afraid of AIDS than I am afraid of being downtown Chicago. Fuck yeah. I'll roll the dice all day long on pussy before I'll fucking take a stab at just walking the streets of Chicago.
Right.
Fuck that.
Sure.
Hell no. Crazy.
Yeah. To say the least.
Yep.
All right.
Wow.